The next presentation is actually very short statement about the work by Martin Krenn. Martin, hello. My main question and the most central to your work is actually the title. The title is coming from a contemporary program of the government in power in Austria, and through this title of the work that you will explain to us, we actually dig back in history, and you trace a line of muted histories of Austria. So how these things, why you went into such a relation, and what was your goal?
Yes, thank you for inviting me, and it's great to talk with you. Yes, you're right. Actually, the title is really important for the work. And the title is Österreich ist ein wunderbares Land. In English, Austria is a wonderful country. And as you said, this is from the government program 2020 to 2024 by the Green Party and the Conservative Party in Austria. And I want to shortly read it because it's interesting. It's in the beginning of this program, and it says, Austria is a wonderful country, characterized by its nature and landscape of diversity and beauty, carried by an innovative economy, located in the heart of Europe, praised for its art and culture, and built on its democratic culture and the hard work and commitment of its citizens. All this constitutes Austria. So, I mean, this is a kind of propaganda, and it's not necessary to put it into a government program. At least this is what I thought when I first read it, and actually couldn't believe what I read. This is one thing. And the other thing is, and I think this is a big topic already in this conference, and it's a big, huge topic, latest since the Waldheims affair, that Austria for a very long period considered itself being a victim of Hitler Germany, of Nazi Germany. So, and one part of it is a kind of negotiation, not negating the things that actually have happened, especially in the beginning. So, in 1938. On the 11th March, the annexation of Austria took place by Hitler Germany. And what is really important is to say that immediately, even before the German troops entered in the morning of the 12th March, Austrian territory, in the evening, in the night of the 11th March, already brutalities and subjugation took place. So, with the participation of the Austrian and Viennese population, Jewish men and Jewish women were forced to wash away the slogans of the Austro-fascist state. So maybe one sentence also why this happened as an historical footnote. From 1933, 1934, depending when you start to count it, to 1938, there was a so-called Ständestaat, the Austro-fascist state. And they didn't want to become part of Hitler Germany. They wanted to stay in power, and therefore they wanted to make a referendum, because it was clear that it's very close in 1938 that Hitler will take Austria and invade Austria. So they wanted to make a referendum asking the Austrian population, do you want Austria to stay independent or become part of Hitler Germany? And that's why they put slogans on the floor, and for example, Österreich, Austria, and then shortly before the German troops entered Austria, during the so-called Anschluss, Jewish men and women were forced by the Viennese population to wash it away. So this is very strange from the symbolic situation, and because not the Austro-fascists were forced to do it. So, and this is one aspect. And the second aspect, which is very emotional actually, is when there are not so many images, historical images. There are a few that are often shown. Also, there's one that is often shown in school books, in textbooks, but it's not well documented because it was an outbreak. Actually, the German authorities, later on this also happened, not only in the first night, the German authorities didn't want that to happen because they got bad press coverage, international. They wanted to just only to have the clapping for Hitler, and not actually what really happened is that people were standing around and clapping hands while their neighbors actually were humiliated and forced to clean the street. And also there are images, you see the people standing around, and there are small children, and they hold their arm around the children, and they watch it, and they laugh, and enjoy it, actually. So this is, if you imagine this happens nowadays, and actually in a similar way, something like that actually really happens. But when you just imagine you are walking down the street, and then your neighbor or someone you bought at the grocery shop food, for example, is forced to do that, and they had to use a very acid soap, so that really destroyed the skin of their hands. So that was horrible. And then you are also a passerby, stand in this line and laugh and find it funny. So what has happened here? That's the question. Unfortunately, I still have to ask myself. I have no answer for that question.
I see also that what you told to us is that the persistence of anti-Semitism was central, even there where it was by the civil society, as you explained to us. I think this is the main point that is coming so vividly out, and also today I think this is, if I can use this Freudian term, the unconscious of Austrian society. The anti-Semitism, the persistence that is there, and your work is putting this out, but is putting out also in the way how you construct your film. Because from this research and the installation, you make actually a film that is giving us this trajectory. And in this film, you put together fictional figures, actors that formulate different historical material and, so to say, real witnesses. Can you explain also why you decided for this and who are these real witnesses?
Yes. There's one footnote I have to make, because it's really important that in Austria this was also always well known that this has happened. So it's not that no one knew about it, but it was not discussed in the right way. It was always like the Germans brought this to Austria. And also it's interesting that Alfred Rudlička's anti-fascist monument thematizes it with an old man who has to clean the street as a statue. And but what was missing was actually the image of the visitors, of the passers-by, and that's why there was a very good installation by Ruth Beckermann, who showed a short film clip where you see the visitors, the passers-by, how they laugh at it. So, and also this was an inspiration for me artistically, how to make this film. So I thought a lot about this problem because, as we all know, the eyewitnesses of this time, there are not many alive anymore. But there is literature and there is research. I also want to mention Michaela Ragan-Bresch. She's a historian who did a lot of research about this, and I was so fortunate to collaborate with her in historical about the historical material. So I thought I tried to find actually in books statements by passers-by or visitors. But I didn't find any statement. I mean, by visitors who actually maybe wrote a letter and saying, "Oh, that was a funny situation. What has happened?" But I didn't find this. So I only found statements by victims. Also not so many, because many didn't talk so much about it because of the Shoah and what has happened afterward, and they considered this to be much more horrible, which is actually true. But it's in this for this project, it was really important to begin at the starting point. So then finally there are two actors. One is Annamáría Láng, and she is actually together walking to the original places where this has happened, and also places such as the Heldenplatz, where people were cheering for Hitler 4 days. I think it was on 15th of March in 1938, and they speak all what they say are original quotes by several eyewitnesses, but they are actors. So Annamáría Láng, she talks with an Hungarian accent, so she's more in the role of a reporter, whereas Peter Rothkappel talks more this Viennese German, and he also sometimes quotes Nazis. And then we have a third character who is an off-voice speaker, and this is Susanne Bock, with whom I had the honor to collaborate, because she's an eyewitness. She witnessed this time, and she also wrote a book about it, Mit dem Koffer in der Hand. And she's an intellectual, she's a great person, I have to say. And she actually is the narrator of quotes of victims. And then finally, in the end, in the epilogue, I had the honor to do an interview with Robert Halpern, who is explaining what has happened to him when he had to wash a motorcycle. So
and she passed away.
And he, unfortunately, this is really sad, passed away a few weeks after actually the interview. I mean, he was not so young anymore, but this is always a shock, yeah. You can imagine.
For a finale, because you palpably explained the film, and the slogan is there in front of the film, but you also live near some white chalk, some small parts. You think the Viennese, the Austrians will intervene? Will write something
maybe
with others?
I mean, the installation, this is what I tried to connect is the present with the past, obviously. Because when you have this slogan, it's written like it was written on the pavement or on the streets by the Austro-fascists who wrote Österreich. And now you have this strange sentence, Austria is a wonderful country, and there are also buckets, and there is what's it called, to scrub it away?
Yeah, to scrub away
material. So you could actually scrub it away if you think this shouldn't be there. Also, you could write some notes on it. But of course, we are also in a museum, so there is also another kind of hierarchy here. So I'm interested what will happen, actually. I agree to everything that happens. But I also hope really, I mean, this is a kind of didactic moment, I think, when you see the original black and white image where the victims were forced to clean the street, and then you're standing in front of this strange sentence and you have a kind of what shall I do now situation. That's what I wanted. I wanted really to pose a question, what shall I do? And also this strange nationalistic approach and victimization of Austria that has happened for such a long time and still partly happens.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you.